Graham.
Yes, but Peter, good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. Thank you for having me.
So, talk to us a little bit about the significance of this visit. What do you think is driving Israel's push across Africa?
It's part of damage control. You would know that Israel has been ostracized by the global community, including African countries, following the decision to annihilate Palestine. And then, of course, the Israeli government is concerned that their country is being isolated, and then they're trying everything possible to mend the walls, as it were. There is an attempt to use what is called religious diplomacy. You recall that recently in October, some African countries visited Israel, and of course, the Israeli leadership was elated by that visit, showing that as much as other people are frowning upon Israel, but there are still African countries that still believe that Israel has something to offer. I think they were going there for religious purposes, but then it amounts to religious diplomacy. Then, on the other hand, are
So,
the
why
other
the
issues you're referring
DRC
to.
and Zambia, do you think?
No, I'm coming to that point. That's why I'm saying that your point then about economic strength and then security matters comes in, because then it means that you also want to have footprints on the African continent, more especially because you recall that the DRC has all the minerals you can think of. So it makes sense to do that. And then, of course, in the case of Zambia, apart from minerals, remember that Israel is fighting South Africa, which is the same thing that America is doing. And we also know that the ANC had headquarters in Zambia. So we've established deep relations with the Zambian government. So there will be then an attempt to try and diffuse the situation and make inroads to Zambia, and then through Zambia and the DRC make inroads to other parts of the African continent, including the other countries in the east that I've just referred to, that were part of the religious delegation that went to Israel. So it's damage control more than anything else.
Okay, so I mean, there may be obvious interests in terms of mineral wealth. What's in it for the DRC then? A relationship with Israel, do you think?
It depends on whether Herzog is visiting this country on the invitation of the two countries or if they invited themselves. If then they were invited, if he was invited by these countries, chances are they are looking at trade relations and they are also looking at security relations. As we know that Israeli intelligence is stronger than many of our countries, except of course Rwanda, Egypt, and Zimbabwe, whose intelligence is much stronger than ours. That is a fact. So then they might be looking at other areas of cooperation, but in terms of security, you do need other countries outside of the continent so that you beef up your security. But most importantly, is trade relations, because even if you have those minerals, you have to sell them somewhere. And then in that case, then it makes sense to touch base with any country, even a country that is a pariah state. Like South Africa was a pariah state, but there were countries that were still trading with South Africa. The same applies to Israel.
Yes, security and a very important issue for the DRC. What ways can Israel assist with DRC in terms of its security issues, particularly in the eastern part of the country? Are we talking arms here?
It's a combination of factors. Whenever there is a volatile political situation, which is a security threat, you need all the assistance you can get. One could be financial, the other one could be military support, the other one, which is the most important, could be intelligence support. Because if you have strong intelligence, chances are you'll be able to diffuse a situation even before it explodes. In which case, then you save many resources. Because if you are able to pick up that something is mushrooming, and then you contain that situation before it explodes, you don't even have to fight. In which case, you don't need arms and you don't need money. So I would think that it should be a combination of factors, not just focusing on one issue.
So we saw how the Israel-Palestine, particularly Gaza Strip issue, war polarized the continent. We saw the African Union not so long ago be divided over whether Israel can participate in the AU as an observer body. And there was a lot of pushback there. Some countries were pushing for Israel to be embraced. How does this visit, what repercussions might there be in terms of a Pan-African view? Will it further divide? Will it further cause tensions?
Absolutely, there is a potential for this visit to further divide Africans. Like you correctly mentioned, that some African countries are frowning upon Israel. And then if you are seen to be accommodating the Israeli leadership, then you might be frowned upon. By the way, the same applies in the space where I am, that is the academic space. There are already divisions because some universities have taken a firm stance that we are not going to collaborate in any research activities with our Israeli counterparts. Already there is a problem. Others are saying no, but we have contracts, then we cannot basically cancel those contracts just because of political reasons. So these frictions are not only confined in the political space, but they also transcend to the academic space and other spaces as well. So this one, obviously, we'll be watching how the AU is going to respond to this particular development, if indeed they will embrace the relationship or if they are going to raise questions. We'll wait and see.
And I suppose with the position that South Africa took, we were never going to be on the list. But there are countries that have supported South Africa's taking Israel to the ICC, for example, the ICJ, I beg your pardon. And I guess this is, again, further proof that African countries are not on the same side over Israel.
African countries will never be united, Peter. Let us not deceive ourselves. They will never be united. You saw that when then Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma was vying for the position of the AU Commission. They were divided along colonial lines. Your Francophone states, your Lusophone states, your Francophone states, we still have remnants of that colonial legacy still with us today. So we are not united. So and then if we agree on a particular issue at the AU summit, then after the meeting, you find that we sing in different tunes, or if there are agreements that need to be ratified, not all African countries ratify those agreements. So yes, indeed, there will be further divisions, and that is bound to happen given that we respond to different Western countries. Some, of course, have good intentions, others have ill intentions, but we have relations with them anyway.
We have a lot of countries across the continent that are very Christian, and I think they look to Israel and the Holy Lands from a religious lens. Could that be part of the equation?
That's exactly the point I made earlier on, Peter, when I was recalling that in October, you had African countries, your Kenya went there, your Mozambique went there, your Ethiopia went there. So then if Israel is smart, they can work on what I referred to as religious diplomacy, because they know that African countries, especially those that subscribe to that form of religion, they will be more amenable to give Israel a second chance, if not for Israel's sake, for their own sake, so that they can satisfy their religious belief systems and then be allowed to visit Israel. Because if you are in disagreement with Israel, chances of you getting a visa are close to zero. So you'd want to maintain that relationship so that if you want to visit the Holy Land, then you will have no problem. So that is bound to happen because Israel is smart. They will definitely want to capitalize on that, knowing that there are African countries that will be amenable to that particular idea.
Professor Mngomezulu, always good talking to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us on Channel Africa.
Thank you very much, Peter, for having me, and thank you to your listeners. Have a great day and a great week.
Thank you very much. That's political analyst Professor Bheki Mngomezulu speaking to us about this pending visit by Israel's President Herzog and first visit to Zambia, rare visit to the continent. And it looks like it could be a diplomacy that's what's the word I'm looking for, Sander? Diplomacy that's brewing. There you go. Israel trying to get
Mind.
Hey, English is running away. It's time for your news headlines. Here's Jolane Tulongwevu.
SABC News.